Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Today's two replays both take place on the El Halluf map, a map that was significantly reworked a couple of patches back. In this version of El Halluf, the heavy tanks have something to do other than all go to the northwestern corner to be annihilated by artillery, and it's now actually possible for lights and mediums to cross the middle of the map without being annihilated by camping tank destroyers and idiots who should know better in KV-1S heavy tanks. A lot of you are quite happy with the changes to El Halluf, some of you of course aren't. I fall into the first category. This has gone from being one of my most hated maps in the game to a map that I actually quite like now. The first replay that we have is International in his IS-2 Tier 7 Chinese heavy tank, which is essentially a straightforward copy of the IS with a few minor differences. The Chinese copy is slightly faster than the Russian tank upon which it was based, but the armour isn't quite as good. In all other respects, they're pretty much the same machine. International here finds himself in a Tier 8 game in his IS-2, which is pretty standard matchmaking for a Tier 7 heavy tank. He's not top tier, but he's not bottom tier either. He's in a 3-man tank platoon with 2 other members of the Cirque clan, Little Brother also in an IS-2, and Nikas 2012 in the Russian premium Tier 7 tank destroyer, the Su-122-44. So they pretty much all have the same gun, although the Su-122-44 fires significantly faster than either of the IS-2s. Majority of the team are heading for the top northwest corner of the map. This traditionally was the place where all the heavy tanks went to get hit by artillery as they camped the corner, and you still do find that this is the area where most of the heavy tanks end up, but there's a lot more options here now. There's places to hide from artillery, there's open ground around here where medium tanks have opportunities to do some outflanking. Something that T-44 at the front clearly hasn't figured out by now. But the heavies are here. So they have an IS-3, the 2 IS-2s. There's a Centurion here with them. Probably doesn't want to be sticking his nose out on that corner though, if the T-44's experience is anything to go by. You'll note that there's a handy rock there on that corner, as well as now the wreck of a T-44, which is ideal for keeping your more vulnerable lower armour covered up. It's definitely a good spot for tanks with good turret armour, like that IS-3 to be using. You can see the IS-3's now side-scraping around the wreck of the T-44. International has a shot at the enemy Centurion. Lovely hit. Artillery just missed him. But International's clearly recognised that if you've got an IS-3 that can be side-scraping that corner, and he is doing a good job of it, needs to be real careful when he fires here. He doesn't want to shoot that IS-3 in the back of the turret. He fires, he hits, but it looks like it glanced off the Centurion's gun manlet. IS-3 definitely knows what he's doing here. And while International was first on the corner, he's not going to try to hog the corner when the IS-3 can do so much better a job of it. So he's popping in and out between the IS-3 shots, and there's the enemy IS-2, and oh dear. That's going to leave a mark. Let's see that again. Look at this. Full health IS-2. 1280 health. Pops around the corner. Welcome to El Halluf. Well, they do say lightning never strikes twice, and International is about to prove them wrong. There's an Su-122-44 over there. Now, it's just a shame he was on low health, because that's another ammo rack. 2 ammo racks right after each other. It's just a shame the Su-122-44 was a one-shot kill anyway, because that would have been glorious. But let's not get too carried away with ourselves. International and the IS-3 driver are now the only 2 tanks left on their team, not just on this corner, but on this entire side of the map. And they do have at least 6 tanks facing them, and they're all Tier 8s. Everybody else on their team is camping the base like a bunch of pros. Well, not everybody. The platoon is down to 2 tanks. They've lost Little Brother in the other IS-2, but Nikas 2012 and the Su-122-44 is coming over here to help as fast as he can, and the artillery in the Hummel also has his eye on the ball. T-69 starts firing fruitlessly into heavily angled side armour, and artillery punches his ticket for him. With the IS-3 still dug in on the corner behind him, and this Lurven now suddenly distracted by the appearance of Nikas 2012 and the Su-122-44, That gives International the opportunity, now that he's been immobilised with his tracks blown off, to pop round the corner, plant one into his side armour and finish him off. And suddenly it's not looking quite so one-sided over here. It's gone from 2v6 to 3v4. IS-3 is still fighting the corner against that Super Pershing over there. Just a Carnarvon left, artillery fired and missed again, fired at the spot where International was, not where he is. That looks like a shot from the Hummel, which just missed the Carnarvon. International takes a very, very dodgy shot at the Carnarvon's turret front there and misses. Unsurprising. Carnarvon taking fire from Nykus in the Su-122-44. International pops out, not fully aimed, lucky to hit and penetrate there. Did substantial damage to the Carnarvon. Good damage roll, not enough to finish him off. They've just lost another tank elsewhere. Artillery fires and misses again. He takes a hit from the Carnarvon, but it only blows his tracks off, and then there's some fantastic supporting fire from the guy in the Hummel. Knew exactly where to shoot, when to shoot, and what to shoot at. Now it's just the Super Pershing left on this corner. They've done it. They've really turned the tables on the enemy team here. And it was down to some fantastic supporting fire from the artillery. The Hummel driver really doing a good job. Nykus 2012 in the Su-122-44 turning up at exactly the right time in exactly the right place. And things are pretty much over for this Super Pershing. There's no way he's getting out of this alive. The rest of the base campers in the team have finally gotten their arses into gear and have moved forward. There's an IS-6 down there by the mouth of the river. He's just spotted the enemy T-28 prototype, probably by getting shot at. Let's be honest here. The view range of the IS-6 is not fantastic, but he's made it into cover and he's in a position to start moving up that switchback road down in the southern end of the map. So they're now coming at the remainder of the enemy team from two sides, but they do have some very, very dangerous machines. The enemy team have, as well as the T-28 prototype and the artillery, they have a T-34 who is right on top. If you have a look at the map, just under the friendly base, he managed to get all the way over there. There he is. No idea how the IS-6 managed to get down to the south. The T-34 managed to get up there without them spotting each other, but there he is. International thinks about going for the T-34, but decides better of it. He's going to stick together with Nykus 2012, and they're going to go hunting artillery and the T-28 prototype. The IS-3 driver on the team, on the other hand, he's moving himself into position. Look at this shot. Look at where the IS-3 is. Look where the T-34 is. He practically has to fire across the whole map, and bang, there you go, got him. T-34 dealt with, and they're now closing in on the last reported position of the T-28 prototype. It looks like Nykus 2012 is going to spot him first. There he is. Nykus plants one into him, and the T-28 prototype appears to have just quit the battle. His gun isn't even pointing in the general direction of the enemy team. Artillery finishes him off, not before Nykus could land two shots into him with that rapid firing 122mm gun on the Su-122-44, and now it's just a question of finding and killing the artillery. If the artillery was going to suicide, he would probably have done it by now. So, hunting down a cornered... I mean, there's only one place the guy can possibly be. He's got to be over this ridge. But he's going to be loaded, and he's going to be waiting. Go on, you first. Hell no, you're the curious one. There he is. He takes a shot and he misses. Well, at least he went down fighting. Good for him. So, if anybody was wondering what it takes to get ace tanker in the IS-2, there you go. All you need to do is around about 4,200 damage to tanks that are almost all a tier higher than you, and have some fantastic support from the rest of your team. Easy! So, from a tier 7 tank platoon in a tier 8 game to a very strong triple tier 10 tank platoon, obviously in a tier 10 game, also on El Halluf. This is Sir Marcus in the E100. He's platooned up with another E100 and a mouse, so they're all the German tier 10 heavy tanks. The other E100 he's platooned up with, however, is using the 128mm gun, not the 150mm gun. And it's probably not through choice. He's probably just not upgraded his E100 yet. Driving the E100 with the 128mm stock gun, which is the same gun that you get on the E75, although you do get better performance on the E100 with the same gun than you get on the E75, you may as well just be driving a mouse, except you're driving a mouse that's slightly faster and doesn't have as good armour. The 150mm gun is really what the E100 is all about. Having a look at Sir Marcus's ammunition loadout on the E100, and there's no real surprises there. 10 rounds of high explosive for firing at soft skin targets, 10 rounds of high explosive anti-tank ammunition, premium ammunition, and 30 rounds of standard armour piercing. And it's that standard armour piercing that's the reason why so many E100 drivers carry a stock of high explosive anti-tank, because that ammunition only has 235mm of penetration. Ah, but Jingles, you say, you should just aim for weak spots. Yeah, but the accuracy of the gun sucks as well. And the trick when you're driving the E100 comes down to two things: knowing how to angle your armour, and knowing when to fire what ammunition. Bad E100 drivers will fire nothing but high explosive anti-tank ammo, and you just don't need to. There's a time and a place for using it, and it's not every time you pull the trigger. I carry 10 rounds of heat ammo in my E100. I haven't actually fired any of it since the 3rd of July, and it bounced. So, you know, make of that what you will. But now it's time to get down to the action. Pops around the corner, takes a hit, KV-4 firing premium ammunition. Can't really blame him, he's a tier 8 tank in a tier 10 match, you have to expect it. This Foch, on the other hand, well, he's taken a hit, and he loiters around on this corner taking more and more hits. But he does manage to nail the enemy T110 E3, so that's a very, very useful kill. First kill on the enemy team, top tier, very, very strong top tier enemy tank destroyer. But it's cost the Foch almost all of his health. Was it worth it? Well, I guess we'll soon find out. Now, AT-15, okay, not a problem. Oh, wow, good shot. KV-4 comes around the corner, but yeah, he's more interested in nailing the IS-3. KV-4's obviously thinking, screw this, tier 8 match, I'm just going to do as much damage as I possibly can, get into my next game, and you know, that's fine. Object 704 on the corner, however, so Marcus has seen him. The IS-3, yeah, didn't. Marcus fires, his shot goes into his tracks for no damage. Typical. KV-4 immediately seizes the opportunity while he's reloading. He wants to be the one to finish off the Foch 155. Marcus is blocking his shot, so he puts one into Marcus. All it does is blow his tracks off. Doesn't need to use a repair kit. He's safely in cover behind this rock. Crew fixes his tracks. Starts working the corner again, using the wreck of the IS-3. He wants the high value target kill. He wants to kill that Object 704. The object's fired. He doesn't have a shot at him, however. There's the IS-8 who hit him earlier, and the IS-8, some terrible side scraping from the IS-8 there. Hits him, sets him on fire. IS-8 puts the fire out, KV-4 takes the opportunity while he's reloading to come out again, and this time he nails the Foch 155. That KV-4 is really seizing the opportunities here. A tier 8 heavy tank in a tier 10 match, he's really doing a very, very good job, but Marcus wants to hit that Object 704, it's a much more valuable target. 704's got to have reloaded by now, he's angling for the shot, but oh screw it. Shoots the KV-4, not enough to kill him outright, sets him on fire, finishes him off. Well, he's just fired, and nobody's coming around to take advantage of it. He really doesn't have much of a shot at this Object 704, but oh, look at that. Gave the 704 nothing to shoot at, but while he's reloading, AMX 5120 comes around. Penetrates the front of his turret, and what's this? Pushes the IS-3 up onto the rock. Yeah, shoot me now, you son of a bitch. Now, of course, he's got to be able to fire over. Oh, the 704 fired and hit, but it bounced. Backs up onto the high ground so you can shoot over the wreck of the IS-3, and the KV-4 finishes off the object. And the rest of the team have managed to push around the other side. They've nailed the AMX 5120. They're in the clear. There's just that IS-8 there. No, he's gone as well. Oh, that was some great work. Immediate danger over. Stop, take a breath, look at the map, figure out what you're going to do. The two AMX 50Bs and the Batchat on the enemy team are making a concerted push into the base from the south. And the only thing that we have down there to hold them off is a T-34 and a Tortoise. Now, a T-34 and a Tortoise are not going to hold off two AMX 50Bs and a Batchat by themselves, and nobody else seems to want to do it, so Marcus turns his E100 around and starts heading back to base to prop up the defences. The rest of the team carries on pushing into the enemy base from the north, but those tanks have taken a bit of a beating, and they're about to run into all the base campers. Meanwhile, the Batchat and the two AMX-50Bs are wasting no time in pushing their advantage. They've just nailed the T-34, and Marcus has a very, very dubious shot at that AMX-50B, which misses, unsurprisingly. It would have been great if it had hit. That would have definitely killed the AMX-50B, but yeah, would have, could have, should have, didn't. Now the enemy team start pulling the scores back. Then he has another opportunity to get a very valuable kill, but the Batchat spots him, manoeuvres, he doesn't give enough lead to the shot, and that one misses as well. That would also have been a one-shot kill. Batchat gets away. It's at this point where he has to start making some hard decisions. He's been spotted and he's been shot at by a Panther 2. But if the Panther 2 can see him, so can everybody else. The Tortoise in the base has got 3 enemy tanks about to swarm him, badly needs help, and the guys that are pushing around from the north are just dying one after the other. And they need his supporting fire as well, so he has to start making some hard decisions here. And he decides to shoot at the tanks that he can see, rather than go hunting the tanks he can't see. Finishes off the Panther 2, scored a good hit on the Yak Panther 2 as well, before somebody else eliminated him. And, well, from a very, very strong position that they were in earlier, now the only tanks left alive in his team are all the guys in his platoon. Now, while I'm sure at this point he would love nothing more than to regroup with the remaining members of his platoon and fight it out back to back, unfortunately he's got 3 French autoloaders who are all significantly faster than him, and he's just missed the Batchat again. These guys are not interested in capping, they're coming after him. The Batchat spotted him, he knows what's coming next, he's trying to reverse, he starts angling the tank, he's taking hit after hit after hit from these 2 AMX-50Bs. None of it is doing any damage. It's difficult to angle your tank effectively, again you're taking fire from 2 different locations, but he's managed to do it, and it looks like the 50Bs have run out of ammunition and are now reloading, so fine, they're not going to be chasing him while they're reloading. Instead, he's only got 1 platoon mate left alive now, and that Batchat is just making this easy. Tunnel vision. He came around to get Sir Marcus. He knew Sir Marcus was here, and instead he focused on the other E100. Now, he's not going to have a lot of time here. Those AMX-50Bs are going to be reloading quickly. But his buddy in the E100 up there needs the assistance, so he plants one into the T-32, who is probably firing premium ammunition, and that's probably why the other E100 does not want to come over the ridge and expose his lower glacis to fire from the T-32 when he's on low health, so Sir Marcus turns around again. T-32 knows this is coming. And takes him out. Still a Ferdinand. Nobody's seen that Ferdinand yet. He was all the way down in the southeastern corner of the map, but he's almost certainly not there anymore. Nobody's seen him since. Oh, there's one of the 50Bs. This is going to be a one-shot kill. Just don't miss. Nice. But the other one is almost certainly going to be coming around from the other side. They didn't time it very well. There's the Ferdinand. Yeah, can't worry about the Ferdinand right now. He's got a bit of an AMX-50B problem. Unfortunately, that means he's just lost his other teammate. And he really does not want to give the Ferdinand shots at his rear. He's got to get up there, get around the corner, get out of line of sight of the Ferdinand. Ferdinand fires and misses. Was aiming for the side of the turret. That would have severely hurt if it had managed to impact. He's got to break line of sight from the Ferdinand. He's got to find that AMX-50B and kill it. There he is. He's trying to run away. Not fast enough, Frenchie. Not fast enough for this German tank. Firing on the move in the E100. I mean, he had to take the shot. He could not let that AMX-50B get around the corner and reload. But, you know, if it hits, you're a superstar. If it misses, you're an idiot. Luckily, it hit. And now, well, he doesn't know exactly where the Ferdinand is, and the Ferdinand has seen him. He's obviously sitting up there with a camo net and binocular telescopes. But he knows in what rough direction he has to point the armour of this tank to beat the Ferdinand's gun. He's got premium loaded. He wants to make sure this hit penetrates. You have to expect the 30 to have premium loaded. There he is. 30 fires. He does have premium loaded. It's not going to be good enough. Boom. Headshot. Game over. That performance, unsurprisingly, earned Marcus the Ace Tanker badge. 105,000 credits, nearly 5,000 XP, doubled for the first win of the day. Crucial contribution game. Between them, the team scored 12 kills. 8 for Sir Marcus, getting him a Pools Medal, a high caliber, a Top Gun, and a Steel Wall, over 4,000 damage blocked by armour. He did 8,000 damage of his own in that game, killed 8 enemy tanks, and he only had to fire 2 rounds of premium ammunition to do it. So that was today's video, featuring International in the IS-2, Tier 7 heavy tank in a Tier 8 match, and Sir Marcus in the E100, both on the Sands of El Halluf. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.